6 people knew. That's what haunts me most about this one. Not one person, not 2, 6. Each one saw a piece of the problem. Each one had the power to stop it. Each one chose not to. And 23 children paid the price. I'm Spoony. Plastic spoon. Item number 23. You've heard 3 of my confessions. Eleanor Grant, David Chen, both dead from lead poisoning. Batch 4782, the pattern that the CDC delayed investigating. The factory that knew and shipped anyway. The bureaucracy that watched people die while committees met. That was season 3. The patterns we ignore. But this is different. This is season 4. Welcome to the system that watched. Check if you're subscribed to Spoony and Friends, because this season isn't about people who didn't know. It's about people who did know and did nothing. Write in the comments, have you ever seen something wrong and assumed someone else would fix it? Because 6 people saw, 6 people knew, and every single one of them thought someone else would handle it. 23 kids, ages 6 to 11, elementary school cafeteria, October 2023. Let me tell you about each person who watched. I wasn't always in an elementary school. I started somewhere else. A restaurant supply warehouse in Newark, New Jersey. Bulk purchasing institutional buyers. I was part of an order. 500 plastic spoons. White, reusable restaurant grade. Ordered by Riverside Elementary School in Camden, New Jersey. June 2023. The school was preparing for the new academic year, replacing old supplies, updating equipment. Budget was tight, always is for public schools. The purchasing agent, a woman named Linda Martinez, had a catalog, pages of suppliers. She was looking for the cheapest option that met minimum requirements. Spoons needed to be durable, washable, food safe. She found a supplier, Value Served Institutional Supply. Their catalog had spoons listed at 42 cents per unit, cheaper than the competitors. She ordered 500, June 15th, 2023. I was spoon number 284 in that order. But here's what Linda didn't know. ValueServe was a reseller. They didn't manufacture anything. They bought surplus closeout stock and overstock from various suppliers, then resold it at markup. My batch came from a factory liquidation. A Chinese manufacturer had gone bankrupt. Their remaining inventory was sold at auction. ValueServe bought it. Thousands of utensils, dirt cheap. 20 cents per spoon. They resold it to schools and hospitals for 42 cents. 22-cent margin. Good business, except the factory had gone bankrupt, partially because of quality control failures. Their products had been rejected by major retailers. Safety concerns. But at auction, no disclosure required. Just bulk lots of utensils. ValueServe's buyer didn't ask questions. Cheap inventory. Fast turnaround profit. I had a defect. Microscopic. Invisible to visual inspection. During manufacturing, the polymer hadn't been mixed properly. Temperature control issue. The result was inconsistent density. Some parts of my structure were weaker than others. Not enough to break under normal use, but enough to develop microfractures under stress. Washing cycles, hot water, dishwasher heat. Over time, the stress created tiny cracks. Invisible, but bacteria could hide there. Survive the washing. Cross-contaminate. July 2023, I arrived at Riverside Elementary. The shipment was delivered to the main office. 5 boxes, 100 spoons per box. The school secretary, Mrs. Patterson, signed for it. She wheeled the boxes to the cafeteria on a cart, left them with the dietary staff. The cafeteria manager, a woman named Sharon Williams, age 51, checked the invoice against the delivery. 500 spoons. Correct. She opened one box, looked at the spoons. They looked fine. White, plastic, clean, standard institutional flatware. She didn't inspect each one, didn't test them, just visual check. They looked okay. She signed off on the delivery, stored the boxes in the supply closet. August 2023, school started. The spoons went into rotation, washed in the industrial dishwasher, used daily. I was used probably 3 or 4 times per week. Breakfast service, lunch service, oatmeal, yogurt, applesauce, standard elementary school fare, September 2023. I'd been in use for a month. The microfractures were developing, still invisible, still undetectable without magnification, but growing. Each wash cycle, each temperature change, the cracks deepened. Bacteria started finding them. E. coli, salmonella, common food bacteria. Normally, the dishwasher killed them. High heat, sanitizing cycle. But in the cracks, some survived. Protected, hidden. Now let me tell you about the first person who knew. Maria Santos, age 28, dietary worker. She'd been working in the Riverside cafeteria for 3 years. Single mother, 2 kids, worked hard, cared about the students. Her job was food, prep, and service. She arrived at 6 a.m. every day, prepared breakfast, served it, cleaned up, prepared lunch, served it, cleaned up, left at 2:30 p.m. 8-hour shift, minimum wage plus benefits. It wasn't much, but it was stable. She took pride in her work, made sure the food was good, made sure the kids were fed. She knew a lot of them by name, knew their allergies, their preferences. She cared. Monday, October 16th, 2023. Morning shift. Maria was in the kitchen, preparing breakfast, oatmeal, fruit cups, milk. The spoons were in a bin, clean, fresh from the dishwasher. She was setting up the serving line, moving quickly. Lots to do before the kids arrived at 7:30. She grabbed a handful of spoons, carried them to the serving station. But she stumbled, caught her foot on a floor mat, didn't fall, but her hands jerked. The spoons scattered, clattered onto the floor. 12 spoons, including me. The floor was clean. The cafeteria was mopped every night, but it was still a floor. Institutional tile, walked on by hundreds of kids daily. Bacteria, dirt, no matter how much you clean, a floor is a floor. Maria looked at the spoons on the floor. She was annoyed, frustrated. Now she had to wash them again. But the dishwasher was already running a load. Wouldn't be done for 20 minutes. And breakfast started in 15 minutes. She looked at the spoons. They'd just been washed. They came out of the dishwasher clean, sanitized. And the floor was clean too. Mopped last night. It wasn't like they fell in a toilet. Just the floor. She made a decision. She picked them up, rinsed them in the sink. Hot water, 30 seconds each. Scrubbed them with her hands. Rinsed again. They looked clean. She put them back in the bin with the others. Problem solved. Breakfast on time. No delay. Did she know it was wrong? Yes, she knew the protocol. Anything that touches the floor goes back to the dishwasher. Full sanitizing cycle. That's the rule. Food Safety 101. She'd been trained. She knew. But she also knew breakfast started in 15 minutes. She knew the dishwasher was running. She knew the kids would be lining up soon. And she thought, it's just the floor. A clean floor. The spoons were already sanitized. A rinse in hot water should be enough. It's fine. Just this once. Nobody will know what's the harm. That's what she thought. I'll rinse them really well. Hot water soap. It'll be fine. She didn't think about bacteria, didn't think about the microfractures in the plastic, didn't think about cross-contamination. She thought about the schedule, about getting breakfast out on time, about not getting in trouble for being late. She made a practical decision, a rushed decision, a decision that felt reasonable in the moment. She rinsed the spoons, put them in the bin, moved on. She didn't tell anyone. Why would she? It wasn't a big deal, just a minor shortcut. Happens all the time in kitchens. You adapt, you make do. That's the job. Now let me tell you about the second person who knew. James Chen, age 45, kitchen supervisor, Maria's direct boss. He'd been at Riverside for 7 years. Started as a dietary worker, promoted to supervisor 3 years ago. He managed the cafeteria staff, oversaw food prep, ensured safety protocols, handled ordering, scheduling. He was good at his job, efficient. The cafeteria ran smoothly under his watch. No major incidents, no health violations in the past 2 years. He was proud of that record. James was in the kitchen that Monday morning. He was in the office, small room attached to the kitchen, window overlooking the prep area. He was doing paperwork, inventory reports, but he looked up. Through the window, he saw Maria stumble, saw the spoons fall, saw her pick them up. He watched her rinse them in the sink, watched her put them back in the bin. He saw the whole thing. He should have stopped her, should have walked out there, said Maria. Those need to go in the dishwasher. Protocol should have taken the spoons himself, sent them through a full cycle. That was his job. He was the supervisor. Food safety was his responsibility. But he didn't. He sat there, watched her rinse them, watched her put them back, and he thought, it's not worth it. Here's what James was thinking. Maria was a good worker, reliable, never caused problems, never complained. She made a small mistake, dropped some spoons. She rinsed them. Hot water, looked thorough. They were already clean from the dishwasher anyway. The floor was mopped, it's probably fine. And if he went out there and called her out, it would embarrass her. In front of the other staff, she'd feel bad. Might get defensive, create tension in the kitchen. Was it worth it? For spoons that were rinsed in hot water after already being sanitized? Probably not. And there was another thing. James had his own shortcuts. Everyone did. Last week, he'd approved using produce that was 1 day past the best by date. It was still good, just technically expired. He didn't throw it out. That would be wasteful. Budget was tight. Can't afford to throw out perfectly good food over a date stamp. So he used it, made a judgment call. No kids got sick. It was fine. So who was he to criticize Maria for rinsing spoons? Everybody bends the rules a little. That's how you get things done in institutional food service. You follow the important rules, the critical ones, but the minor stuff, you use judgment. You prioritize. So James didn't say anything. He watched Maria put the spoons in the bin. He went back to his paperwork. He didn't think about it again. Not a big deal. She handled it. Move on. Breakfast started 15 minutes later. On time, no issues. James was satisfied. Efficient operation. That's what mattered. Now let me tell you about the third person who knew. Dr. Rebecca Lynn, age 52, health inspector, Camden County Department of Health. She'd been an inspector for 15 years. Before that, she was a nurse. She knew food safety, knew protocols, knew how institutions cut corners. She'd seen it all. Restaurants serving expired meat, cafeterias with broken refrigeration, nursing homes reusing disposable items. She'd cited violations, shut down kitchens, taken her job seriously, but she'd also learned something over 15 years. You can't shut down everything. You have to prioritize. Major violations get enforcement. Minor violations get warnings. That's how the system works. Limited resources, limited time. You focus on the things that are actually dangerous. Dr. Lin visited Riverside Elementary on October 10th, 2023, 6 days before Maria dropped the spoons. Routine inspection. She inspected every school cafeteria in the county twice per year. Riverside was due. She arrived at 10 a.m., checked in with the principal, went to the cafeteria. She inspected the kitchen, the storage areas, the refrigeration, the food prep surfaces. She watched the staff work, observed their practices, took notes. She saw several issues, minor ones, nothing critical, but worth noting. One thing she noticed, the dietary staff were rushing, moving fast, cutting corners. She saw a worker drop a ladle, pick it up off the floor, rinse it quickly in the sink, use it again. She saw another worker taste food with a spoon, put the spoon back in the food, direct cross-contamination. She saw James, the supervisor, notice these things and do nothing, just watch, not correct. She also noticed the utensils, plastic spoons, and forks. She picked one up, examined it. It was clean, but it looked worn. She could see slight discoloration. Where marked, these spoons had been used a lot. How old were they? She asked James. He said they were new, just purchased in June. 3 months old. Dr. Lin looked at them again. They looked older than 3 months, but maybe that was just heavy use. Elementary school, hundreds of kids daily, high turnover. Maybe the wear was normal. She made a note. Utensils show where monitor for replacement. Not a violation, just an observation. She also made notes about the staff practices. Staff observed taking shortcuts during food prep. Supervisor present, but not correcting. Recommend additional training on food safety protocols. Again, not violations, just recommendations. The kitchen was fundamentally clean. Food temperatures were correct. Storage was proper. No major health hazards. The shortcuts she observed were minor, common in institutional settings. Not ideal, but not dangerous enough to warrant enforcement action. Dr. Lin completed her inspection, gave James a copy of her report, explained her observations, recommended the staff training, recommended monitoring the utensils for replacement. James nodded, said he'd address it. Dr. Lin filed her report with the county, moved on to the next school. Her job was done. She'd documented the issues, given recommendations. The school would either follow up or not. She'd check again in 6 months. That's how it worked. But here's the thing. Dr. Lin had seen the staff cutting corners. She'd seen the supervisor not correcting them. She'd noted it in her report. She could have done more. She could have given a formal citation, required mandatory training, required proof of compliance. But she didn't, because the violations were minor. Because every cafeteria had similar issues. Because if she cited every school for staff taking shortcuts, she'd be citing everyone. And then the citations would lose meaning, and the schools would push back, and the county health department would get complaints, and her supervisor would ask why she was being so strict over minor issues. So she didn't cite, she recommended, she documented, she moved on. Did she know it could lead to a problem? Maybe. She knew shortcuts create risk. She knew institutional kitchens are under pressure. She knew supervision was often lax. But she also knew that most of the time, nothing bad happens. Most of the time, the shortcuts don't result in illness. Most of the time, the system works, despite the corner cutting. So she made a judgment call. Document it. Recommend improvements. Trust that the school would address it. That's what her 15 years of experience told her to do. Now let me tell you about the fourth person who knew. Principal Rebecca Torres, age 48. She'd been principal of Riverside Elementary for 6 years. Before that, she was a teacher, then vice principal. She worked her way up. She cared about the school, about the students, about the staff. But she also dealt with constant pressure, budget cuts, staff shortages, testing requirements, parent complaints, facility issues. Her job was to keep everything running despite having insufficient resources. She was good at it, but it was exhausting. When Dr. Lin's inspection report arrived, October 11th, Principal Torres read it. She saw the observations, staff taking shortcuts, supervisor not correcting, utensils showing where, recommendations for training, for monitoring equipment. She sighed. Another thing to deal with. She called James to her office. October 12th. She asked him about the report. James said it wasn't a big deal. Minor observations. No violations. Dr. Lin was just being thorough. The kitchen was clean. Food safety was good. The staff just worked fast. Sometimes that's the nature of institutional food service. As for the utensils, they were fine. New as of June, just high-use items. They'd monitor them. Principal Torres asked, "Do we need to do training?" James said, "We could. But honestly, the staff know the protocols. They've all been trained. They're experienced. Sometimes they cut corners when they're busy. That's normal. More training won't change that. What would change it is more staff, more time, slower pace. But we don't have budget for that. We're already understaffed, so the staff do what they can. And honestly, we haven't had any issues, no illness, no complaints. The system is working." Principal Torres considered this. She had 32 other things on her to-do list. The roof was leaking in the West Wing. A teacher was out on medical leave and they couldn't find a substitute. A parent was threatening to sue over a playground incident. The district was demanding new standardized testing data. And now she was supposed to worry about cafeteria staff rinsing spoons too quickly. She made a decision. She told James, "Monitor it. Make sure the staff are being careful. If you see problems, correct them. And let's plan training for later this semester. Maybe December, after the holidays. When things slow down, we'll do a refresher. For now, just keep an eye on it." James agreed. Principal Torres filed the health inspection report, put training on her December to-do list, moved on to the next crisis. Did she know it was risky to delay? Did she know that monitoring wasn't the same as fixing? Yes, she knew. But she also knew she couldn't fix everything immediately. She had to prioritize. Leaking roof. Immediate safety issue. Lawsuit threat. Immediate legal issue. Cafeteria staff taking minor shortcuts. Low priority. No violations. No complaints. Can wait. That's the calculus of being a principal with insufficient resources. You do triage. You address the emergencies. The non-emergencies wait. Now let me tell you about the fifth person who knew. Thomas Patterson, age 55. District Food Services Administrator. He oversaw all cafeterias in the Camden School District. 12 schools, thousands of students. His job was budget management, purchasing vendor contracts, compliance with state and federal nutrition regulations. He worked from the district office, rarely visited the schools, mostly dealt with paperwork, reports, data. He was efficient, good with numbers, kept costs down while meeting nutrition requirements. That was his mandate. Thomas received copies of all health inspection reports. Part of his oversight role. October 13th, he received Dr. Lin's report for Riverside. He read it. He noted the observations. He also pulled up reports from the other schools. 7 of the 12 schools had similar observations in their most recent inspections. Staff taking shortcuts, supervisor not correcting, equipment showing wear. It was a pattern. District-wide, not just Riverside. Thomas understood what this meant. The schools were understaffed, underfunded, working with old equipment, cutting corners to keep up with demand. This wasn't a Riverside problem. This was a systemic problem. The district didn't fund cafeterias adequately. State reimbursement for school meals hadn't increased in 5 years. But costs had. Food, labor, equipment. The cafeterias were squeezed, so they made do. Used equipment longer, pushed staff harder, cut corners where they could. Thomas could address this. He could go to the district superintendent, present the data, show that 7 schools had similar reports, argue for increased cafeteria funding, argue for more staff, for equipment replacement budgets. He could make the case. But he'd made that case before, last year, the year before. The answer was always the same. No additional funds available. Budget is tight. Make do with what you have. Prioritize. The district had other needs. Special education, technology, facility maintenance. Cafeterias were low priority. As long as kids were fed and no one got sick, the cafeterias were fine, so Thomas didn't escalate. He sent an email, October 14th, to all school principals and cafeteria managers. Subject, health inspection observations, reminder of food safety protocols. The email summarized the common observations from recent inspections, reminded staff of proper procedures, emphasized the importance of following protocols, encouraged supervisors to correct staff when shortcuts were observed, recommended refresher training where needed. He CC'd the superintendent, documented that he'd addressed the issue. CYA, cover your ass. That's Management 101. Acknowledge the problem, send a reminder, document it, move on. Did Thomas know the email wouldn't fix anything? Yes, he knew. An email doesn't create more staff, doesn't buy new equipment, doesn't reduce workload, but it checked a box. It showed he'd responded to the health inspection observations. It put the responsibility back on the schools. Follow the protocols. Train your staff. My job is done. If something goes wrong later, he could point to the email. Say, I reminded them. I provided guidance. They didn't follow it. Not my fault. Now let me tell you about the 6th person who knew Sam Rodriguez. Age 33. Sales representative for ValueServe Institutional Supply, the company that sold the spoons to Riverside. Sam had been in sales for 8 years. He worked on commission, sold to schools, hospitals, nursing homes. His territory was New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. He was good at his job, hit his quotas, made decent money. He knew how to talk to purchasing agents, knew what they wanted, low prices, fast delivery. He could provide both. Sam knew the products ValueServe sold weren't top tier. They were budget items, sourced from liquidations, overstock factory seconds. But they met basic requirements. They worked, and they were cheap. That's what mattered to institutional buyers. Schools didn't have money for premium flatware. They needed functional, affordable. That's what Sam sold. He didn't lie about it. When buyers asked, he was honest. These are budget items. They're not going to last as long as premium products. But they'll get the job done, and they're cheap. Most buyers appreciated the honesty. They knew what they were getting. Cheap utensils for cheap prices. But Sam also knew ValueServe didn't test their products, didn't verify quality, just bought liquidation lots and resold them. Sometimes that meant defective products slipped through. Sam had seen it before. A batch of forks that bent too easily. A batch of plates that cracked in the dishwasher. When customers complained, ValueServe would replace them. No questions asked. Good customer service. But no testing up front. No quality control. Just buy cheap, sell fast, replace if needed. When Linda Martinez from Riverside called Sam in June 2023, asking for a quote on spoons, Sam pulled up the inventory. ValueServe had just acquired a large lot, 5,000 plastic spoons, factory liquidation. Good price. He could offer them at 42 cents per unit. Competitive. Linda ordered 500. Sam processed the order, shipped them, invoice paid, commission earned. He didn't think about it again. Did Sam know the spoons might be defective? Not specifically, but he knew ValueServe's sourcing practices. He knew they bought liquidations, factory closeouts. Sometimes those factories closed because of quality issues. But sometimes they closed for other reasons. Bankruptcy, consolidation. You never knew. Sam didn't ask. That wasn't his job. His job was to sell. The company policy was, if a customer has a problem, we'll make it right, replace it, refund it. That's our guarantee. So, Sam sold with confidence. Worst case, they'd replace it. No risk to the customer, no risk to him. Did he know he was potentially selling defective products to schools, to kids? He didn't think about it that way. He thought, I'm selling affordable supplies to underfunded schools. I'm helping them stretch their budgets. If there's a problem, we'll fix it. That's the business. And honestly, most of the time, there wasn't a problem. Most of the time, the cheap products worked fine. This was just how institutional supply worked. Budget tear, volume sales, replace if needed. Everyone understood that. So those were the 6 people who knew. Maria dropped spoons on the floor, rinsed them instead of re-smatizing. Thought it's just the floor. James saw her do it, didn't correct her. Thought it's not worth the confrontation. Dr. Lin saw staff taking shortcuts, gave recommendations, not violations. Thought it's minor, not worth enforcement. Principal Torres received the report, delayed training. Thought I'll address it later. I have bigger problems. Thomas Patterson saw the district-wide pattern, sent an email. Thought, I've documented it. My job is done. Sam Rodriguez sold untested budget spoons, didn't ask about defects. Thought, if there's a problem, we'll replace them. 6 people, 6 decisions. Each one reasonable in isolation. Each one understandable. Each one choosing not to act. Choosing to assume someone else would handle it. Choosing to prioritize other things. Choosing convenience. Choosing efficiency. Choosing to minimize conflict. Choosing to document rather than fix. 6 people. 6 failures. And they didn't happen in sequence. They happened in parallel. Maria didn't know about Dr. Lin's report. Dr. Lin didn't know about Thomas's email. Thomas didn't know about James's decision. They were separate, independent, but they created a system. A system that watched problems happen and did nothing. October 16th, 2023. Monday, Taco Tuesday preparation day. The cafeteria was prepping for the next day's lunch. Taco Tuesday was popular. Ground beef cheese, lettuce, salsa, tortillas. The kids loved it. Maria was browning the ground beef. Large industrial pots, 10 pounds of meat per pot, 4 pots. 40 pounds total, enough for 400 servings. The beef came from the district supplier, delivered that morning fresh. Properly refrigerated, no problems with the meat itself. Maria cooked the beef, stirred it, seasoned it, checked the temperature. 165 degrees Fahrenheit, safe, proper. She portioned it into hotel pans, covered them, put them in the walk-in cooler. They'd be reheated tomorrow for lunch service. Standard procedure. She cleaned the pots, washed the utensils, used the spoons to taste the seasoning, check the flavor. One of those spoons was me. I'd been in the bin since Monday morning. Since Maria rinsed me after I fell on the floor. I'd been used once for breakfast. Oatmeal, then washed in the dishwasher, then used again Monday afternoon for tasting the taco meat. Here's what happened. When I fell on the floor Monday morning, I picked up bacteria. Floor bacteria. Despite the mopping, despite the cleaning, floors have bacteria. That's unavoidable. The bacteria got into my microfractures, the tiny cracks hidden. When Maria rinsed me, the hot water didn't reach them. The bacteria survived. When I went through the dishwasher later, some bacteria died, but some, protected in the cracks, survived. Then Monday afternoon, Maria used me to taste the taco meat. The meat was hot, 165 degrees, but I touched it briefly, tasted, then back in the pot, the bacteria transferred from my cracks to the meat. E. coli 0157H7, a particularly nasty strain. Not a lot, just a small amount, but enough. The meat went into the cooler overnight. The bacteria now in the meat began to multiply, slowly but steadily. Tuesday morning, Maria pulled the pans from the cooler, put them in the steam table, reheated them. 165 degrees again. Most of the bacteria died, but E. coli 0157H7 is hardy. Some survived, especially the bacteria that were deep in the meat, protected, insulated, and the steam table, while hot, doesn't always maintain perfect temperature throughout. Some spots are cooler. The bacteria survived in those spots. Tuesday lunch, Taco Tuesday. The kids lined up. 400 students, grades K through 5, ages 5 to 11. They were excited. Tacos were their favorite. Maria and the other dietary workers served them. Tortillas, beef, cheese, lettuce, salsa. The kids took their trays, sat down, ate, enjoyed their lunch, laughed, talked. Normal Tuesday. No one noticed anything wrong. The food tasted fine, looked fine, smelled fine. Everything was normal. The kids finished lunch, threw away their trash, went back to class. Afternoon continued. Normal day. Wednesday morning, October 18th, the calls started. Parents calling the school. My child is sick, vomiting, diarrhea. Started last night. Too sick for school. The school secretary, Mrs. Patterson, took the calls, logged them. By 9 a.m., she'd received 12 calls. 12 kids, out sick, all with the same symptoms. Gastrointestinal. She mentioned it to Principal Torres. Principal Torres frowned. 12 kids, same symptoms. Could be a virus. Stomach flu goes around, but 12 in one day seemed like a lot. She told Mrs. Patterson to keep tracking. Let her know if more calls came. More calls came. By noon, 18 kids had called out sick. By end of day Wednesday, 3, all with the same symptoms. Vomiting, diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramps. Principal Torres was alarmed. 23 kids. This wasn't normal flu. This was an outbreak. She called the county health department, reported it. Dr. Lynn wasn't the one who took the call, a different inspector. But they opened an investigation immediately. 23 children, same school, same symptoms, same timeline. Potential foodborne illness. The health department sent investigators. Thursday, October 19th. They interviewed Principal Torres, interviewed James, interviewed the dietary staff. They asked, what did the kids eat Tuesday? Taco Tuesday. What was in the tacos? Beef, cheese, lettuce, salsa, tortillas. They collected samples. Leftover beef from the cool, unopened cheese, lettuce. They also collected environmental samples, swabbed the kitchen surfaces, the utensils, the equipment. They sent everything to the state lab. Rush order. Results would take 48 hours. Meanwhile, the kids were getting sicker. Most were at home, but 3 had been hospitalized. Severe dehydration. 4 fluids. Their parents were terrified. What's wrong with my child? The doctors suspected E. coli, sent stool samples to the lab. Confirmed E. coli 0157H7, dangerous strain, can cause kidney failure, especially in young children. The hospitalized kids were being monitored closely. Supportive care, hydration, wait and see if their kidneys held up. Friday, October 20th, lab results came back. The beef sample tested positive for E. coli 0157H7, same strain as the kids, source identified. The beef, but how? The beef had been cooked properly. Temperature logs showed 165 degrees. Proper cooking kills E. coli. How did it survive? The investigators dug deeper, interviewed Maria, walked through the entire prep process. Maria explained everything. Cooked the beef, portioned it, cooled it, reheated it, everything by the book. Or was it the investigator asked about utensils? What did you use to stir the beef? Large spoons. Where did they come from? The clean bin from the dishwasher. Did anything unusual happen during prep? Maria hesitated, then said, well, I dropped some spoons Monday morning. Before the taco prep, I rinsed them and put them back. Could that be related? The investigator's eyes widened. You dropped them where? On the floor. And you rinsed them? Yes. Hot water, soap, and then used them. Not immediately. They went through the dishwasher first, after breakfast service. Then I used them Monday afternoon for tasting the beef. The investigator collected the spoons, all of them, from the bins, from the dish area, sent them to the lab. The lab examined them under magnification, found microfractures, tiny cracks, tested the cracks, found E. coli 0157H7, same strain. The bacteria had been living in the cracks, survived the washing. Maria's rinse didn't kill them. The dishwasher didn't kill them. They transferred to the beef when she tasted it, then multiplied overnight, then sickened 23 children. The health department shut down the cafeteria immediately. All food service suspended until further notice. They inspected all utensils, found that the plastic spoons and forks all had similar microfractures. Manufacturing defect. The entire batch, 500 spoons, all potentially contaminated, all potentially dangerous. They ordered them destroyed, contacted ValueServe, informed them of the defect. ValueServe recalled all spoons from that liquidation lot. Too late for Riverside, but potentially saved other schools. The investigation expanded. They interviewed everyone. Maria, James, Principal Torres. They pulled Dr. Lin's inspection report from October 10th, saw her observations, staff taking shortcuts, supervisor not correcting. They interviewed Dr. Lin, asked why she didn't cite violations. She explained they were minor observations, recommendations, not actionable violations. The investigators frowned, but didn't pursue it. Dr. Lin had followed protocol, documented her observations. That's what inspectors do. They pulled the email from Thomas Patterson, October 14th. Reminder of food safety protocols. They interviewed him. He showed them the district-wide data. 7 schools with similar observations. He'd sent a reminder, documented it. The investigators asked, "Did you do anything else? Training, additional supervision?" Thomas said, "I reminded them. That's my role. I'm not on site. The schools are responsible for implementation." The investigators noted this, moved on. They contacted VideoServe, spoke to Sam Rodriguez, asked about the spoons. Sam provided the sourcing information, liquidation lot, factory bankruptcy, no quality testing, just resale. The investigators asked, "Do you test your products before selling them?" Sam said, "No, we sell budget items. If there's a problem, we replace them." The investigators asked, "Did you know these spoons might be defective?" Sam said, "No, we didn't test them. We don't test liquidation lots. That's not our business model. We're a discount supplier." By the time the investigation concluded, October 30th, the facts were clear. 23 children sickened. E. coli 0157H7 source. Contaminated spoons with manufacturing defects. Contributing factors. Maria dropped spoons. Rinsed instead of resizing. James saw it. Didn't correct it. Dr. Lin noted staff shortcuts. Didn't cite violations. Principal Torres delayed training. Thomas Patterson sent an email instead of systemic intervention. Sam Rodriguez sold untested liquidation products. 6 people. 6 failures. But here's what the investigation found. No one violated any specific regulation. Maria violated internal protocol by not re-sanitizing the spoons. But it wasn't a legal violation. James failed to supervise adequately. But there's no law requiring supervisors to correct every minor mistake. Dr. Lin followed inspection protocols. Documentation and recommendations are standard practice. Principal Torres delayed training. But there's no legal requirement for immediate training. Thomas Patterson sent a reminder. That's appropriate administrative action. Sam Rodriguez sold budget products. Liquidation sales are legal. No law requires testing of resale items. The investigation concluded systemic failure, multiple points of failure, no single person responsible. Recommendations: additional training for all cafeteria staff, increased supervision, regular equipment inspections, testing of purchased utensils, district-wide protocols for equipment replacement. All recommendations, no enforcement, no penalties, no criminal charges, no civil liability found, just ... recommendations. The kids recovered. Most of them, 20 out of 23, were home within a week. Full recovery. 3 remained hospitalized longer. 2 developed hemolytic uremic syndrome. Kidney damage from the E. coli. Both required dialysis. Temporary. Their kidneys eventually recovered. But one, a 6-year-old girl named Emma, had permanent kidney damage. Reduced function. She'd need monitoring for life. Potential kidney disease later. Potential transplant eventually. Her childhood changed. Her future changed. Because of a spoon. The families were angry. Devastated. How did this happen? How did 23 children get poisoned at school? The school district held a meeting. Principal Torres apologized. Thomas Patterson apologized. They explained the investigation findings. Systemic failure. Multiple points. They explained the new protocols, new training, new inspections. They promised it would never happen again. Some families accepted this. Others didn't. 3 families, including Emma's, hired lawyers. Filed lawsuits. Negligence. The district settled undisclosed amounts. Non-disclosure agreements. The lawsuits disappeared. The families got money. The district admitted no wrongdoing. Case closed. Maria kept her job. She was devastated. She'd made a mistake, a shortcut, and kids got hurt. She cried when she found out, offered to resign. Principal Torres said, "No, it wasn't just you. It was systemic. You were part of it, but so were others. You'll do additional training. You'll follow protocols exactly, but you keep your job." Maria stayed, but she was changed. Never took a shortcut again. Followed every protocol exactly, to the letter, haunted by what she'd done. James also kept his job. He did additional supervision training. He was more vigilant, corrected every mistake, watched the staff constantly. But he also questioned himself. Should I have said something that Monday? Should I have stopped her? Would that have prevented this? He didn't know. He'd never know. Dr. Lin continued as a health inspector, but the Riverside outbreak changed her approach. She became stricter, cited more violations, followed up more aggressively. Some schools complained, said she was being too harsh, but she didn't care. 23 kids got sick on her watch. She'd documented the risks, but hadn't enforced. That wouldn't happen again. Principal Torres remained principal, but the outbreak was a mark on her record, a failure. She delayed training, prioritized other things, and kids got hurt. She implemented all the recommended protocols, made cafeteria safety a priority. But she carried the weight, the knowledge that she could have prevented it. Thomas Patterson stayed in his role, but he changed his approach. No more emails, actual interventions, site visits, training programs, equipment replacement budgets. He fought for funding, made the case, got some additional resources. Not enough, never enough, but more than before. The outbreak taught him documentation isn't action. You have to actually do something. Sam Rodriguez kept selling, but values have changed their policies. They started testing liquidation lots, basic safety checks. It cost money, reduced margins, but prevented problems. Sam was fine with it. He didn't want to sell dangerous products. He just hadn't thought about it before. Now he did. They sent me here. Item number 23. Not just for the 23 children who got sick. Not just for Emma, the 6-year-old with permanent kidney damage. For being the nexus of 6 failures. 6 people who saw. 6 people who knew. 6 people who chose not to act. Maria thought, it's just the flaw. James thought, it's not worth the confrontation. Dr. Lin thought, it's not serious enough to cite. Principal Torres thought, I have bigger problems. Thomas thought, I've documented it. Sam thought, we'll replace it if there's a problem. 6 thoughts, 6 rationalizations, 6 assumptions that someone else would handle it, and 23 children paid the price. That's my 4th confession. Welcome to Season 4, the system that watched. This isn't about people who didn't know. This is about people who did know, and chose not to act. Chose to assume, chose to prioritize other things, chose to document instead of fix, chose comfort over action, and the pattern will repeat because it always does. Because systems don't fail from one person's mistake. They fail when everyone sees the mistake and no one stops it. They fail when responsibility is diffused, when everyone thinks someone else will handle it. They fail when 6 people watch and 0 people act. If this story made you think about the times you watched and didn't act good, hit the like button. Write in the comments, when have you been the bystander? When have you seen something and assumed someone else would fix it? And subscribe to Spoony and Friends, Season 4, for more episodes. For more systems that watched. See you in the next confession.